All right, Gervonta Davis's numbers on Showtime are really looking up. Big jump from his last time he fought on Showtime. Floyd Mayweather Jr. thinks that Tevin Farmer versus him will be a pay-per-view fight. I'm not so sure about that. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, shout out to everybody that is joining. We got a lot of new subscribers. Thank you guys very much over there on Fanon's Business and Politics on the Patreon channel. We have a new series on negotiating with difficult people that I think that you'll really enjoy. Also, we got a lot of good stuff over there. Thank you to the new subscribers. I will be putting your names probably tomorrow in the banner that goes across the video, so you'll see your thank you up there. Also, I want to thank everybody that supports the channel on Super Chat and on the Cash App. Thank you so much for what you guys do for the channel. Much appreciated. Gervonta Davis. As you know, he had a fight this weekend in Baltimore, in his hometown. It was a packed house, filled to capacity with over 14,000. I think the number was roughly 14,686 people came into the Royal Farm Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, where he's from. And the fight itself did tremendous numbers. Well, very good numbers for Gervonta Davis, a significant improvement over his last fight. 594,000 people peaked. 594,000 people watched the fight on Showtime. At a peak, the average audience for their fight was 553,000. Just to let you know, that is over 100,000 person increase from his last fight, which was back in February against Hugo Chavez. And that was, Hugo Ruiz, not Hugo Chavez. Obviously, he did not fight the president, the former president, rest in peace, of Venezuela, Hugo Ruiz, on February 9th, and that had peaked at 586,000. The average for it was 429,000 for the fight. I think that the average for the whole card was a little less, but we're talking about Gervonta Davis and who watched him fight right now. That, my friend, are very good numbers, man. Very good numbers. They also talk about some other numbers associated with it. That prior to the fight, The Rise, which is a 3-fight segment produced by Showtime on their social media, did over 3.5 million views. And also that there's been a lot of people who have watched the highlights of the knockout. So Gervonta Davis's very impressive performance got his face, got his name out there in front of a lot of fans. And I have to think that Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Showtime Boxing are going to say, hey, man, that was a successful venture. Now, that is not quite the numbers that you get for a Errol Spence Jr. fight. Errol Spence Jr., will do by himself. I think the Chavez fight came in somewhere over like 600,000, something like that, in there with the Carlos Ocampo fight. And, so that's getting close to Errol Spence Jr. numbers, not quite as big as Errol Spence Jr. numbers, but look, man, that has to be considered a success for Gervonta Davis. Now, obviously, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is looking to get Gervonta Davis on pay-per-view. He said that he believes that the fight between Gervonta Davis and Tevin Farmer could be a pay-per-view fight. Let me address that in 2 ways. First, I'll pay for the fight. I want to support Gervonta Davis. I don't mind supporting Tevin Farmer if it comes down to that. It's an Ed. I think he's promoted by Eddie Hearn. So when I say that, it's not that I have an issue with Tevin Farmer. Very good fighter out of Philadelphia. I do believe he is the IBF 130-pound champion. I don't have a problem supporting him. I'm just not big on Eddie Hearn because, right now, he's putting in people under, knowingly putting people in fights who have tested positive for performance enhancing drugs or having some, at least in their A sample with with Dillian White. So right now it's kind of hard for me to feel like I want to support him if I ever feel like I really want to support Eddie Hearn. But as far as that fight goes, I would love to see that fight. I would pay for it. Whether or not, John Q Casual is willing to pay for that fight or not, I'm not so convinced. I think Gervonta Davis's name is getting out there. He is definitely somebody that, Showtime put a lot of, put a fair share. I wouldn't say they put a great amount of promotion, similar to the way that, the Fox Sports, is promoting fights over on Fox Sports, Fox Sports 1, FS1, FS2. But, a considerable amount of promotion for Showtime. So, his name is getting out there. Not only that, but he's got the type of style and gets the type of knockouts that is real easy to put, highlight clips out on him that could attract people to be interested in the fight. But I don't know at this particular moment whether or not that's the case with Tevin Farmer. I think that, and just generally speaking, I think that it's hard to sell pay-per-view fights for guys that are on 130 pounds. I don't really know if there's been any guy like that that's really been that type of attraction that's been at 130 pounds. Most of the guys that have been big name draws to the point where, they feel like that they can put them on pay-per-view and charge you a lot of, a lot of money to watch a fight. These guys tend to be people up there at 147 pounds, middleweight, and heavyweight, right? Of course, the Mike Tysons, the Lennox Lewis's, Evander Holyfields, right now the Deontay Wilders up at heavyweight, Anthony Joshua in the UK, in the heavyweight division where people they're putting on those shows, the pay-per-view shows. Also at 160 pounds, there's, the Canelo Alvarez pay-per-views. I'm not even sure if Canelo Alvarez has really had, other than Floyd Mayweather Jr., which is really a 147-pound guy, fighting at a catch weight with Canelo Alvarez. I think most of Canelo Alvarez's big pay-per-views, the Gennady Golovkin 1, Gennady Golovkin 2, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. were all at 160 as well. There are the cases, obviously, of the De La Hoyas in 147, Floyd Mayweather Jr. at 147, Manny Pacquiao at 147. I think there might have been some cases maybe at 135. I'd have to go back and check to see if that was the case with Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., who fought at lightweight and at 140 and at 140 pounds. But generally, those big pay-per-view fights are reserved for the big, the big premier weight classes, which are heavyweight number 1, number 2 welterweight, number 3 middleweight, number 4 probably 135 pounds, and then all the little guy divisions below that, typically, have not been treated like that. However, Gervonta Davis in this, by having his numbers increase, I think has taken a step further in that direction. Now, there's another thing about why fights can be put on pay-per-view, which might justify these guys doing it. And that is to get cost off the books of the network, right? So, for example, Terrence Crawford was on pay-per-view, or better, I guess the better example of that is HBO. HBO put fights of Gennady Golovkin on pay-per-view. They had, several pay-per-view fights. I would even argue Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, 1 and 2, which were on pay-per-view. I believe that a lot of these times that those type of fights are put on pay-per-view, it's not necessarily in the expectation of these guys making a ton of money or people really believing that this is some really special event that is going to drive a lot of purchases from hardcore boxing fans and casual boxing fans. I think oftentimes it's a way to take the costs out of the budget for of the network, because the networks have budgets that they assign to pay licensing fees for fights. And if they are able to get enough people to buy on pay-per-view at a reasonable cost, then as soon as they get up to their break-even point, then that money didn't come off the budget. and they put the fight on, but they can then use those budget dollars to do something else somewhere else. And so maybe that could be the case with the Gervonta Davis fight with Tevin Farmer. I'm not sure. But the other thing is that these pay-per-views for Showtime they've been doing pretty well. They've been ranging from the 325,000 up to the 500,000 pay-per-view range at about $75 a pop. Look, man, if it winds up being the case that you're getting the same people that, that 350, 300,000, 300,000, 325, 350, 400,000 people that are really trying to support that want to support the fights that the PBC are going on, and they can consistently get that, then maybe, hey, maybe Gervonta Davis can be the piece of that pie. Also, if Gervonta Davis and Tevin Farmer or Gervonta Davis and somebody else were able to put really good fights on the undercard, then maybe, people would be willing to do that. And I also think, though, as far as these numbers doing better for Gervonta Davis, it could have had something to do with the fact that they had a pretty decent undercard out there, man. I like the fight with Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yuriorkis Gamboa is not, he's never been a tremendous draw, but he is a very recognizable name, him and Rocky Martinez. And it wound up being a very good fight beforehand with with a good knockout. That could have had something to do with it as well. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Is Gervonta Davis on his way to being a star? Is this a positive step forward or just an anomaly? What fights you think Gervonta Davis would have that could be pay-per-view, or would it be worth it for you to pay that extra money to watch? Let me know in the comment section. Definitely check out the Patreon page. There's really good life lessons on over there. Much love to everybody in the super chat and the Cash App that come to the live streams in the mornings and on Sunday. And with that, I'm out. Peace.